Hey everyone, and welcome to our Genius Hour project. So Kat and I decided to work together to create this presentation on blended learning. We thought it was really important considering kind of what's going on in the world right now. We thought it was really important to kind of get a grasp on how we can easily implement technology and different types of learning into the classroom. So, what is blended learning? So blended learning is learning that combines online instruction and face-to-face instruction. By doing this, it can be way more individualized for the students, so it's more student-centered learning rather than just, teacher instruction all the time. It makes it a little bit more easy for students to become engaged. It does not require a one-to-one laptop ratio or a tablet ratio, whatever is available to you. So I think that's kind of one of the really cool things about this is that you don't have to have technology for every single student in order to be able to have blended learning in your classroom. So blended learning is kind of the intentional integration of technology in the classroom that enhances the learning process for students. So here I have a video that kind of explains what blended learning is in the classroom. For the sake of time, I'm not going to play this for you, but I really suggest that you do take a look at this because it really gives a good example of kind of what's going on in a classroom when blended learning is taking place. So, the models of blended learning. So, there are several models of blended learning, but I thought that this kind of encompassed the most important ones. So, according to the blended learning universe, there are 7 models of blended learning. As you can see, there's station rotation, flipped classroom, enriched virtual, lab rotation, flex, individual rotation, and a la carte. Now, you can use these all in your classrooms, but there are just a few that kind of make more sense to use in a classroom for primary education, so like K through 4. The first one is station rotation, which is kind of the most common you see in elementary schools. So you have one station that is an online instruction, and then the students will rotate through this to a teacher-led instruction, and once again rotate to a collaborative activity with other students. And then they just kind of rotate throughout that until they've gotten to all stations. It's kind of like based on a fixed schedule, so you'll have a certain amount of time in each station depending on what is needed for that particular experience. This is kind of the most popular blended learning model because it increases the variety of learning activities and it allows for the activities to be customized to what the students really need. Each student does not even need to be completing the same activities in each station, so it really does allow for more individualized instruction. So the flipped classroom, which we all know about since we've created our own versions, it's kind of a framework that helps students receive personalized education and tailor it to the needs that they really need to work on in that particular experience. So in a flipped classroom, you will actually learn the majority of the material at home through online coursework and lectures. And then when you go to class, the teachers will use projects or different types of activities to help the students really comprehend and understand and apply that information. So the face-to-face meetings are way more dynamic and productive through this method of blended learning because they're able to interact with the content. The students are able to interact with the content, and other students in the classroom are able to kind of work collaboratively together in order to fully comprehend the material. The next one is enriched virtual. Now this is really similar to flipped classroom. However, the face-to-face instruction is not always required. So it could be as little as 2 times a week. Now this is kind of what online school would be like. if you were taking like a cyber school. However, usually there's not much face-to-face in that. This is similar to kind of what's happening around the world right now, so I thought this was kind of important to include. However, we're not having any face-to-face interaction. So I'm kind of wondering how this is all going for all of our educators out there. So I really liked this quote. It kind of helped explain more of what enriched virtual really is. So it's kind of an alternative to full-time online school that allows students to complete the majority of the coursework online at home or outside of school, maybe at a library, but they can attend school for the required face-to-face meetings with the teacher. And I think that kind of those face-to-face meetings are kind of what's really important so that they can still have that interaction with a teacher so they can really understand and grasp that material. So as an example, we have created a station rotation model for you. So we use the water cycle lesson in order to demonstrate kind of something that you can do. Now there are many options of what you can do, so let's start this over. So you can really, figure this out on your own. We use this Prezi to demonstrate what this is. So here we go. The teacher-led instructions. So they will pre-teach the concepts and vocabulary to the students of the water cycle and the path that the water takes throughout the cycle. The teacher can use like visuals and pictures and videos and really anything that they can think of. And then for this center or station, the students will participate in a role play activity. So there'll be several small groups and they'll kind of act out the parts of the water cycle. So evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. So they'll be able to create and use the costumes themselves to show the water traveling throughout this water cycle. And I think it'll be a really good hands-on activity for students to really grasp the information. Now this one doesn't include any technology for the students specifically, but that's okay because it's a blended learning model. You don't have to have technology in every single station that you have. So the next station will be the online instruction. So students will watch this provided video over here, and then the teachers can incorporate edu-puzzle questions. So see what the students maybe already know or have learned from watching this video. So it's kind of just a way to get the kids to be able to see all of the information in their own time. They can pause and rewatch this video as much as they want. So it's really helpful. I'm not going to play this video for right now, but it's just so cute. The Dr. Binoc Show. Alright, so the next one, we have the collaborative activities. So in this station, we've decided that the students will create Flipgrid videos with partners to identify the parts of the water cycle and also explain the path that the water is taking throughout that water cycle. So they will be creating 2 videos. In the first post, they're going to create a video that explains just the main parts of the water cycle. So evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, sorry about that. Students can do this with a partner, a group of 3, or individually if they choose. It's really up to them. This kind of makes it more differentiated for students that may just want to do this on their own or may feel more comfortable completing this activity with a partner. So the second video, each group will explain the path of the water throughout the water cycle. So when they, after they've said their explanations, they're going to share an example that they have found online that shows the path the water takes as it moves throughout the water cycle. We will teach these children how to include the link in their video post and show a short clip of it on their iPad or laptop or whatever resource you have in your classroom. And then after posting these videos, each student will individually watch and comment on at least one other classmate's post. This will kind of make it more of a collaborative, whole class experience that's important just so that we are still learning as a class, but it is a bit more individualized. So those are just our references here. So I'm going to go back to our presentation quickly. All right, so why should you use blended learning? We both think that it's really easily differentiate. It can be used to easily differentiate, learning to meet students' needs. Um, it's just a really cool way of individualizing instructions for students in a whole classroom setting that students are able to work at their own pace, and it just makes learning more fun because they aren't challenged to the point that they are not able to do it. This learning can take place almost anywhere, which is really beneficial because sometimes you just run out of time and you want the students to learn all the information, but you just don't have any more time left. And this also aligns with the TIMS and the 21st century skills that we have learned about in class, which are extremely important when integrating technology into the classroom. So then down here, we just listed some different information and sites that you can go to that are really informative, and have taught me and Kat a lot about blended learning as a whole. Here are references. So I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch our video, and I hope that you've learned something about blended learning that you can really use in your classrooms once we get there. So thank you. Have a great day.